Welcome to Warhammer Warscroll Review. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Death Faction, the Soulblight Warscroll, Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon.
Warscroll Review.
Vampire Lords used to be a terrifying sight in Warhammer Fantasy. Atop a zombie dragon, the model was a whole nother level of destruction. In Age of Sigmar, the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon is not quite as influential, but can still be a powerful force on the tabletop. The beast starts with movement 14 inches and degrades by 2 for each tier on the damage table, ending up at a measly 6 inches. As you may have already guessed, the model can fly. 14 wounds with a 4-up save. That increases to a 3-up save if you take the shield. The model has a total of 5 weapons, 1 range breath for the mount, 2 weapon options for the rider, and 2 more separate weapons again for the dragon. The Zombie Dragon's Pestilent Breath is a one-shot weapon with the range of 9 inches. Although it hits on a 4-up, it is an interesting ability that lets you roll a die. If you score equal to or lower than the number of models in the target unit, it automatically hits. This roll takes place before the roll to hit is made, and is intended to boost the chances of hitting on a larger unit. Even against a single model, if the player rolls a 1, the breath automatically hits. The weapon wounds on a value indicated on the damage table, and starts at 2-up. Just before the monster is dead, it's only wounding on 6s. This attack has a rend value of 1 and deals d6 damage. Seeing as the Vampire Lord is a melee combatant, the decent range weapon is a welcome addition. The Rider has a choice between 2 melee weapons, the Death Lance and the Vampiric Sword. Both weapons hit and wound on 3s with rend 1. The sword has 1 more attack than the lance and deals d3 damage as opposed to a flat 2. On the charge, the lance goes up to damage 3. I would almost always recommend the lance as the constant 2 damage is more reliable. The Zombie Dragon has 2 melee weapons, its sword-like claws and its maw. The claws have a number of attacks indicated on the damage table, but starts at 6 and falls to 2 when it's almost dead. The claws are rend 1 and deal 2 damage. The maw has just 2 attacks, but with rend 2 and damage d6, this dragon can take some serious bites. Unfortunately, both of the dragon's weapons hit on 4s, so if the death player really wants the model to be doing some reliable damage, they will have to augment the dragon's accuracy. The warscroll has 2 other special rules, both based on healing the model. The Hunger triggers when the model slays an enemy in the fight phase. This ability heals back the vampire 1 wound. Chalice of Blood can be used once per battle in the hero phase. This item restores d6 wounds to the model. These abilities are great at keeping the zombie dragon around. As soon as it loses 5 or 6 wounds, drink the chalice to heal back. Remember that its constant heal triggers when it slays models, so send this thing after light characters and units so it can slay them in a single fight phase when possible. A smart death player can make this monster extremely hard to kill. Note that there are 5 levels on the damage table, so this model degrades steadily through the course of the battle. On the flip side, it will be healing throughout the game too, so you'll be constantly having to check what tier the zombie dragon is on. On top of all these rules, the Vampire Lord is a wizard and can cast and unbind 1 spell a turn. Its signature spell is Blood Boil and deals a mortal wound to a unit within 18 inches. If the model wasn't slain, the vampire player can roll a die. On a 4-up, the model receives another mortal wound, repeating the process until the model dies or the vampire player doesn't roll a 4-up. This is an okay spell, but Arcane Bolt is likely more reliable. In any case, the most likely story is the Vampire Lord just casts Mystic Shield on itself. Last but certainly not least is the Vampire Lord's command ability. Dread Knight allows the death player to choose a death unit within 15 inches to reroll to hit rolls. This is a pretty powerful ability and one of the few places death has access to reroll hits. Use it on a large unit of Morghast, Blood Knights, Spirit Host, or even zombies. This ability can even be used on itself to correct the dragon's poor accuracy. With all that said, the Vampire Lord and Zombie Dragon is obviously a fearsome force. It should move forward and destroy units, prioritizing heavy infantry and monstrous cavalry. When the Zombie Dragon gets low, go fly it somewhere it can slay light infantry to heal back up. With most of its wounds remaining, it can even go up against the big fighter characters and monsters, but will probably need some support to take them down. There are plenty of ways to augment the Vampire Lord's abilities. In a Soulblight faction, the Vampire Lord really has a chance to shine. With battle traits, in combination with command traits and artifacts, the Death player really has a chance to make a unique Vampire Lord. It's actually really cool and feels a lot like how the Vampire Counts used to play when they had their bloodlines. The first part of Soulblight's battle trait shouldn't be shocking. Deathless Thralls grants models within 6 inches of a Soulblight hero a 6-up save against wounds and mortal wounds. The second part allows the player to pick bloodlines. Blood Dragons, Neckarch, Blood Warriors, Necromantic, Swift Death, and Lords of Night. Blood Warriors allow the Vampire Lord to reroll 1s to hit when the model charges, which may or may not be very impressive when remembering the model's command ability. Necromantic adds 1 to casting and unbinding rolls, and subjects 1 bravery of nearby units in the battle shock phase. Swift Death adds 2 to movement and allows the model to fly, which is arguably not very effective on a unit that can already fly 14 inches, but a zombie dragon flying 16 inches is pretty menacing. Lords of Night allows all models to take the save for Deathless Thralls without having to be within 6 inches of a Soulblight hero, which is obviously the least beneficial for the Vampire Lord, but it does free the model up to do its own thing. The Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon is often going to be the General and will take on a command trait. Most of the choices are fairly beneficial in a Vampire Lord. Curse of the Revenant would give it an extra wound. Transfix could be used on an enemy within 3 inches to subtract 1 to hit rolls against the Vampire. This ability would be good if the Vampire will be dueling characters. But the most beneficial command trait is probably Mist Form. This trait would allow the Zombie Dragon to retreat and charge in the same turn. Since he can fly, this keeps him from getting bogged down by the wrong enemy and ensures he can keep advancing into the enemy's lines to get to the best target. The Vampire can charge to the front lines, then next turn, disengage, fly over the enemy, and move deeper into their territory. If the Zombie Dragon gets into a fight it is losing, pull it out and put it into a fight where it can try to heal some wounds back. Some of the Soulblight artifacts are effective as well, depending on the battle trait chosen or playstyle intended. The Sigil of the Sanguine Throne could help ensure successful charges for the Vampire Lord and friendly vampire units within 12 inches by allowing 1 of them to reroll charge rolls. The Saccharine Goblet would have pretty great effects on a Vampire Lord, making it hit and wound on 2s. The Slaking Blade is extremely powerful on a vampire with a Death Lance. After the model deals 6 wounds, it heals back D3 wounds, and its weapon deals an extra damage for the rest of the game. The Lance will be dealing 4 damage per attack on the charge. The D3 wounds back is just icing on the cake. But the artifact that is debatably better for the Zombie Dragon is the Scabbing Plate. This would heal the model 1 wound at the end of any combat phase if it dealt any wounds. In combination with the Hunger, this will be healing the dragon 2 wounds each combat phase. When taking the Scabbing Plate, the Vampiric Sword might actually have a place on the model since it is just about doing some damage, it doesn't matter how much. Though Swift Death, Mist Form, and Scabbing Plate might be the best combination, what's great about the Soulblight Allegiance abilities is most of them have a purpose. After casting Mystic Shield on a vampire bestowed with the Curse of the Revenant and the Scabbing Plate, the monster would be extremely hard to take down. For a maneuverable, sneaky vampire, choose Swift Death, Mist Form, and Sigil of the Sanguine Throne. A Zombie Dragon will be flying 16 inches and will be able to retreat and charge in the same turn, plus it can reroll charge rolls. In addition, taking the Blood Fury command trait and the Saccharine Goblet is a potent offensive combination. In a Death Grand Alliance, the Vampire Lord could see a few benefits. I suppose the Red Fury command trait would only apply to the Rider, but being able to pile in an attack again on a 5-up would be pretty deadly. As far as artifacts go, the Cloak of Mists and Shadows would work like Mist Form and allow the model to pull out of combat and set up 12 inches away. The Cursed Book would work well paired with Neferata. The 2 would be giving off -2 to hit auras. Ring of Immortality would probably be the best artifact at the vampire's disposal. Before losing its last wound, it can be placed within 12 inches with D3 wounds. Use this to keep the Zombie Dragon alive for longer than he should be. Send it after a light infantry unit to start healing back wounds, or just run away and hide. With all that said, Vampire Lords and Zombie Dragons can fit into any Death or Soulblight force, but since they are over 400 points, they won't work as an ally. When facing a Zombie Dragon, because of all its healing abilities, it's best to focus everything you have on it to try to take it down in one go. If this can't be achieved, try to avoid it and send chaff after it. Don't allow it the space to land behind the chaff to advance further into your territory. The Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon receives a 4 out of 5. It has pretty decent stats and weapons, and with its regenerative abilities can prove to be extremely survivable. What do you think of this Vampire Lord? Do you think you'll be seeing the Soulblight faction? Let me know suggestions for War Scrolls to review and your answers in the comments, and as always, thanks for watching.